Alright guys, hope you're all doing well today. So this has just been tweeted by the Division 2 devs, and we're going to go over the patch notes because there's quite a lot. And this is coming out tomorrow, the 25th of March, 9:30 AM CET, 4:30 AM EDT, 1:30 AM PDT. Title update 8.4, estimated downtime is 3 hours. And we're going to look at the patch notes for this because I think there's some stuff in here which we've all been waiting for. So this is going to be a good news video, essentially. So let's go over the patch notes for 8.4. So it says, we are still evaluating several changes that are coming on the server side, and we'll update this post to reflect any changes. So gameplay changes. Seasonal Manhunt is changed to allow progress at normal difficulty and above. This will make playing together easier as all players will gain progress no matter what difficulty was set by the group leader. That's a really good change. Seasonal Manhunt is receiving a button in the Manhunt UI that allows players to reset the Manhunt to replay it. This allows players to reset the progress specifically and without changing the global difficulty. Again, another really good change. This also means changing the global difficulty will not reset the Seasonal Manhunt, and players are required to reset it via the Seasonal Manhunt UI. Okay. Coyote's Mask will drop from Coyote with an increased drop chance on higher difficulties. Does it say anywhere about having to actually obtain it first? Because I think they said before that you would have to obtain it first. It might be the line below. We're also looking into providing the mask for players that have not received them, even though they reached season rank 35. Okay, so they've not said whether you have to obtain the mask first before it will drop, but I presume that that's what's going to happen. Increasing the reward quality of the following open world activities to be in line with other activities: public execution, settlement blockade, and propaganda broadcast. Reward caches from conflict matches at maximum level are now of high-end quality. And then we've got some balancing changes. Developer note that the game was tuned in a way that playing the exact same enemy composition at higher difficulties and higher player counts would match to the expected gear of that difficulty and extra players added. However, since the game also adds more elites and veterans to accommodate higher difficulty and player counts, this caused tuning to overcompensate health and damage higher than intended. We are thus lowering many of these values. So they are reducing the NPC damage output for all difficulties. That's really good, because one of the biggest problems with this is not the sponginess is a problem, obviously, but one of the biggest problems is actually that you get one shot. No matter how much health you've got, you pretty much get one shot. So that's a good change. This applies to all NPCs and activities, and enemies will do less damage to players compared to their current damage output. Reduce NPC health and armor for group scaling. That's good, because the group scaling in this game was pretty out of whack, especially when you got to 4 players. Enemy health and armor scaling for 2, 3 and 4 player groups based on veterancy. This means red, veteran, elite and named enemies will have their health and armor reduced compared to their current values. Additionally, we are adjusting health and armor based on activity level. Difficulty, sorry. This applies to hard and challenging difficulties where enemies will have lower health and armor compared to their current values, and exceptional, heroic and legendary difficulty enemies which will have their health and armor increased to compensate for the group scaling reductions to their values. Right, okay. Developer note, we still intend heroic and legendary to be very challenging, therefore we are increasing the base difficulty to account for the health reductions for co-op scaling. Compared to now, this means heroic and legendary will be a bit harder for solo players and 2-player groups. 3-player difficulty will still be roughly the same, and 4-player difficulty will be easier. Black Tusk specific adjustments which went live earlier this week: reduce the health of the Warhounds, reduce the damage of the Warhound Sniper. Yeah, that was ridiculous. Reduce the damage of the 360 spin of the Warhound minigun. First time I came across this was in the open world, and everyone just died. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Increase the intention icon duration of the 360 spin from the Warhound minigun to give players more time to react. That's good as well. Reduce the weak point health of Warhound's Grenadiers control unit. Support station, reduced but base health of the support station. That's good, because the support station it took you forever to actually get down. Adjust health scaling of support stations with veterancies. Increase likelihood of support stations being deployed in the open away from cover. Again, this is good. This is good because whilst I agree that the NPC should be more difficult, sometimes they deployed these support stations in some of the hardest positions known to man, and you just had no chance of taking them down. EMP effects will now damage the support station. Again, brilliant news. This is something that I think a lot of people wanted, or expected. So I'm really glad that they've made this change. Level 30, World Tiers 1 to World Tier 5 content. NPC damage, health, and armor will receive additional reductions. Yeah, because I've heard that people in these specific groups have really struggled with this update, so that's good. Pre-Warlords of New York content has lower maximum values to weapon damage, skill damage, and armor than level 31 plus content, so difficulty is now tuned separately for pre-expansion World Tier content. That's good. This should have been done in the first place, though. Why this wasn't tuned separately, I don't know. But I'm glad to hear that they've made this change. And again, this is coming tomorrow, guys, so this is good news. PvP balance changes. All PvP weapon damage is minus 20%. Okay? PvP rifles an additional 10%. PvP MMRs an additional 10%. So what you're going to see is that generally people aren't going to die as easy. Plus, rifles and MMRs, will likely not be as much of the meta as they are now. I presume that assault rifles are going to come into the fray here a little bit. I still think SMGs may be underpowered. I've not really seen anyone using SMGs in any PvP kind of content. It's either ARs or MMRs or rifles. So hopefully they can look at SMGs in the future. Skills. The Cluster Seeker Mine reduced distance to ball charge from 12 meters to 10 meters. So they've reduced distance from end to explode from 6 meters to 4 meters. These changes should make the Cluster Seeker Mine feel a bit more responsive. Okay, that's good news. Because it does... What I will say is a lot of the times what I find with clusters or any of the mines is that they get to the NPCs, they wait like 5 seconds before they blow up, and then the NPCs are already out of the radius. I think there needs to be some with that where they don't... And I get they've done that to allow it for PvP, where players have a chance to react. But maybe they need to fix... because they can do both. They can separate both PvP and PvE. I don't know if they can do that with the mechanics, but I think they need to reduce the amount of time it takes for these mines to actually explode, because as of right now they're not nearly as powerful as some of the other things in the game, like the turrets and stuff like that. Bug fixes. Fix missing dialogue location for Brazilian, Portuguese and Stadia. Fix an issue causing developer UI elements being visible in the language and settings menu. Implement improvements with data streaming. Is there any here that we need to really see? Okay, so fix an issue causing the seasonal Manhunt progress to reset when changing directives. That's important. That's really good. Fix an issue causing the apparel urban jungle schedule to not show currently in game. I think it does show, but it shows that it's way out or it's already passed or something. So that's okay. Causing target intel. Fix an issue causing the sticky bomb to not do damage under certain circumstances. I've not come across this myself, although I do use a sticky bomb a lot. I've been using a lot recently for the leaks to catch enemies on fire and stuff like that, but the outcasts on fire and stuff, but I've not come across that myself. Fix an issue causing the shock trap deploys to be very close together when launched, rather than spread out. They're all like clustering in one position. I haven't used that much, but I've seen that where they cluster in one position and they're not effective, where they should be spreading out to give you more radius and thus be more affected. Fix an issue causing global difficulty to affect the Operation Dark Hours raid. Fix an issue causing specializations to not unlock while owning the Ultimate Edition. Season rewards to be skipped and instead giving players duplicates when gaining multiple Season 11s. Causing the objective not to count towards the daily Project Outcast hunt. That could cause a level 35 season reward to not be delivered, and they talked about that before, so hopefully that's good. Everyone that's gone past that should get that back. They've not said that will happen, but I hope that will. Fix an issue causing unintended health values on shields. I've seen this only just recently, actually, from... I think it was Sir Grumps a lot on Twitter, maybe. I can't remember exactly, but he showed how this was possible, where you could have a shield on a DPS build, which could have like triple the health it should have, based on an unintentional thing within the game. Fix an issue causing season ranks to be reset. I talked about this in a video earlier on, so that's good. Fix an issue that caused league mission timers to reset when a rogue encounter wiped the group. Again, this is another fix that is perfect. This is what is needed. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about what everyone is already thinking when we look at all of this stuff. But this is good news. This is really, really good news, and this is going to make it much more tenable for most people to actually play through these difficulties. Personally, I'm currently at Heroic. That's currently where I'm playing at. That's where I feel challenged, but not so challenged that I want to lower my difficulty. But I definitely haven't. I've played Legendary once. Played a Legendary mission. Me and Marker Blades played it a couple of tried to go through it. I'll be honest, guys. Our builds weren't min-max. We had no healers or anything like that, so it was a struggle. So I'm currently sticking to Heroic. That's where I'm going to stay for right now. And I'm looking forward to these changes. I really think this is good news. Obviously, we'll have to see how it works, because as of tomorrow we don't actually know. It doesn't tell you percentages, doesn't say how much they've been nerfed by. It doesn't, we don't know how much 20% is going to make in PvP. We don't know how much this 10% is really going to affect rifles in PvP, and all of the other stuff. We just don't know how it's going to work. But I hope that this is going to make a huge change to people going from hard to challenging, which is one of the biggest jumps you can make, and thus people will feel like they are being rewarded more. What I will say is that it doesn't appear to mention anything about the actual rewards you get for these difficulties, and this is something that's come up a lot, where people don't feel like they're being rewarded for the difficulty that they're doing. Where you might run through a heroic mission and it might take you 30 minutes, you could do the same on normal and it would take you 5 minutes. So you could do the same run 6 times, and then you'd have 6 times the chance to get better stuff. So I think there needs to be somewhat where we look at loot quality, because it doesn't appear that... I've played through heroic and I've played through challenging a lot, and it doesn't feel that much difference between heroic and challenging, except it takes me much longer to go through heroic stuff than it does challenging stuff. So they may need to look at the loot scaling again at some point, but for right now, this is very good news. I'm glad it's coming as soon as possible. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, guys. If you did, please drop a like on the video, and until the next one, epic out.